Make a beautiful beaded Christmas ornament. This crystal and seed bead drop with its double-sided design allows each crystal to reflect as much light as possible, perfect for capturing the magic of the moment. Learn how to make it starting with step 1, the 4-hex base. Then, in step 2, you will turn it into a 3D design by doubling it up with easy-to-see instructions, plus tips on getting a puffy version. In step 3, finish the edge and add the drop at the bottom. Add bows and ribbon as you desire. You're going to need 52 of the 4mm bicone crystals, and you can use one 6mm crystal for the bottom drop, and size 11 seed beads, and finish it up with a wire guard and jump ring. So let's start with the 6 seed beads and bring them down near the end of your thread. Needle back through all 6 of those seed beads, and then I'll come through one more and pull all of this together to form the inner circle. It's a little bit loose. Just retrace your beads one more time to tighten up this inner circle. It's always good to start with a nice strong foundation to a project. When I get to the point where my working thread and tail meet, I will knot those together, pulling it tightly, and then needle a bead or two past the knot and trim off the wildfire tail. So in its simplest form, this pattern is based on triangles, which have 3 sides. So we'll start by picking up 3 crystals in total, 1 crystal, but between them we're placing a seed bead. So picking up another crystal and another seed bead and another crystal. Needle back through the seed bead here in the center circle that your thread is coming out of. And this pattern is similar to netting in the aspect that you don't want your thread to cross. So you're going to come up this side of your triangle formed by the 3 crystals, and we're going to form another triangle here. And the pattern shifts now to a seed bead crystal, seed bead crystal. And we're going to needle through the center circle back towards the section that we just added. And you'll see as we pull this together, that makes another triangle. They share this one crystal in common. And needle back through the crystal that they share in common. And we're going to follow the thread path. I usually go through a seed bead and crystal at a time. One more seed bead and crystal. And then needle through the next seed bead in the center circle. Again, a crystal seed bead, and come back down through this one, and then needle through the seed bead at the base between the 2 crystals. Counting the outside crystals, we have 3 triangles, 1, 2, and 3. And again, like netting, we're going to come up this one, the same pattern of a seed bead crystal, and needle through the next seed bead here in the center. Come up through the crystal that they share the wall of towards the outside. And now we need to come back over here. Towards the center. and through one more of the seed beads here in the center. Again, we're using the crystal seed bead pattern and coming through the crystal towards the center. And we have one crystal left out of the 12. Needling through the seed bead here at the base between the two crystals. Coming up the crystal towards the outside edge. And like I said, this pattern starts out the same as if you were making the straight interconnecting bracelet. When you get to this point and you pull on this last outside edge of your triangle and step through the seed bead between the two crystals, it will be loose because it's only held on right here at this point. So you need to retrace this thread path one time to secure it. Doing this will not only secure it, giving your work a little bit more of a finished and polished look overall. Back towards the center 6 seed beads and through the one at the base of your bicones. And then needling up towards the outside of the hexagon. And then come through 1 seed bead and 1 bicone. You'll need to pick up a seed bead, bicone, seed bead, bicone, and seed bead. And needle back through the bicone that your thread is exiting, pulling that into another triangle unit. And now these 3 seed beads here will form another circle of 6, and these 3 seed beads here will form a circle of 6. Since our thread is here, we're going to be working on this side first. So just coming through the 1 seed bead, picking up 3 more, and needling through the 3 in the center. And I suggest that you retrace the center 6 seed beads one time. Just needle back through those. Doing so helps with your thread tension, keeping it all in place, and continuing around to this bicone until you come out the seed bead here before the bicone, and then step up through the bicone using the pattern of 1 seed bead, 1 crystal, and 1 seed bead, 1 crystal, needling through the seed bead here to form another triangle, coming through the crystal towards the outside edge, through the seed bead and crystal, and through the next seed bead and crystal towards the center, and through the next seed bead in the center. Again, another crystal and seed bead set 2 times, back through the crystal towards the center, through the seed bead at the base of the crystals, and then needle through the crystal towards the outside edge. 1 seed bead, 1 crystal, and 1 seed bead, filling the gap on this outside edge. This is the one that's loose, so I'll retrace it. Just retracing the outside edge of it and down the next seed bead and crystal towards the center. Next, we're going to form the other circle of 6 seed beads right here. So we're going to just needle through the seed bead and through the crystal and over. Needle down this 1 seed bead, through the crystal, and then step up into this seed bead. You need 3 more of the seed beads to form another inner circle of 6, pulling those into place and then retracing them until you end up back here. This way you'll have good tension and a more uniform look. See how nicely that pulls it together. Coming through the seed bead just below the crystal and then up through the crystal. Again, picking up a seed bead crystal, and you can needle through the next seed bead back towards the crystal, forming 1 more triangle. coming up through the crystal so we can complete this hexagon shape over here, through the seed bead and crystal, back down one more seed bead and crystal towards the center, and through the next seed bead. Again, a crystal seed bead, crystal seed bead. You want to needle down through the crystal towards the center, through the seed bead at the base of the two crystals, through the crystal towards the outside edge. And then to fill the little missing section, one seed bead, one crystal, and one seed bead back here through the crystal towards the center. And this is the one that's loose, so you can go ahead and retrace that. Just finishing up the retracing, exiting the bicone. And now you can see we need to come up here and add another center section of 6 seed beads. So we're going to trace along the inner path of these seed beads and through this crystal, coming through the seed beads, and then step up the crystal, and then needling through these 2 seed beads, picking up 3 more seed beads to complete the inner circle of 6, coming through here, pulling those together, and you just need to retrace this inner circle once, helping to set everything into place, continuing around and exit the seed bead right here below the bicone. And now we're almost finished here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 crystals here in the center, and we end up with 6, so just a little bit more to go. Coming through the crystal towards the outside. 1 seed bead, 1 crystal, 1 seed bead and 1 crystal. Back through the seed bead here in the middle, adding another triangle section, stepping up the crystal towards the outside edge, through the seed bead and crystal, and through 1 more seed bead and crystal towards the center. Needle through your next seed bead in the center 6. Again, 2 pairs of crystals and seed beads, and needle down the crystal towards the center, through the seed bead at the base of the crystals, and then needling up the crystal towards the outside edge. And then just filling this gap here with the seed bead, crystal, and seed bead. And of course this time we'll have to retrace that section through all those beads one more time and back to the center. I'm just going to move my thread up here to this bicone, coming through 1 seed bead, 1 crystal, until I'm here at the end. Let's turn this base shape into a double-sided pendant, exiting down here out of the crystal. Excuse the knot, but I added some more thread to continue working. The first step will be adding another triangle, a seed bead, crystal, seed bead, crystal, and seed bead, and needle back through the crystal that your thread is exiting. So you can see that this triangle here and this one share this common bicone. As a matter of fact, all the outside edge bicones will be shared. This will end up being turned over, and it will be a double layer piece. But for now, let's keep it flat until we get our center circle of 6 seed beads. Coming down a seed bead and crystal, and through the seed bead here at the end. This one is a mirror image of this one. Picking up 5 more seed beads and coming back through this one, forming a center circle of 6, just like here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this in my hand for now. retrace the center circle, coming around all of them and exiting the seed bead. So now I'm going to fold it in on itself, and you can see that it mirrors what's below it. I'm going to slip a piece of paper between the two halves to make it a little easier to work on. The ones that are shared, like I said, are these very outside bicones. Just to make it a little easier to see here in the beginning, come back through the bicone towards the outside edge, picking up just one seed bead. We'll needle through this bicone here. Okay, and then one more seed bead and bicone. Come through the seed bead in the middle before your previous bicone. Removing the paper. See, it's a little difficult to see. But let's put it back in for now. I think it makes it easier. And come back up the bicone towards the outside edge. And very much just like what you've been doing before, coming through the seed bead. It's not as easy to get through 2 beads at a time now, and then you can go through the crystal. I'll remove the paper for a minute. You can orient where you're at. This is one of the crystals from the outside edge, just the same as all of these. That's the one that you'll needle through. Down your seed bead and crystal towards the center, and step through the next seed bead in the center 6. Crystal seed bead, crystal seed bead. Back through your crystal. Removing the paper for a moment. There was no outside edge that we were sharing with this one. There won't be for the next one, not until we get back around here. Through the seed bead at the base of the 2 crystals, and needling through the next crystal. Again, you'll need a seed bead and crystal 2 times. Coming through the next seed bead here in the center, pulling those along, removing the paper. That way you can see what it's looking like. And put this back in through the crystal towards the outside, through 1 seed bead and crystal, and coming through the other seed bead and crystal towards the center. And step through the next seed bead. 1 crystal, 1 seed bead, 1 crystal, 1 seed bead. Needling back down this crystal here towards the center. Coming through the seed bead here at the base of the 2 bicones. And then through the crystal towards the outside edge. So we've almost completed another hexagon shape out of the triangles here. We just need to connect these 2 right here, which would be 1 seed bead, 1 crystal, and 1 seed bead. And the crystal we need to connect it with is already there from the previous layer. So pick up 1 seed bead, come through the crystal, pull that together. Go ahead and insert the paper, picking up the other seed bead, coming down through the crystal towards the center, pulling it together and through the seed bead here at the base of the two crystals. Go ahead and remove the paper, kind of give you a good look at how it's going at the moment. Kind of have an opening right here. It's connected along the bottom at these three crystals. Now we're going to work on this one. Slide the paper back in to make it a little easier to see. We'll add another inner circle 6 right here. So your thread is exiting the seed bead right here. Coming up one more seed bead. And through the crystal. I'll needle through one of the seed beads. You can see that when I remove the paper, there is another inner circle 6 from the first layer underneath. So we're going to put one here, but we only have 2 seed beads. So we'll be picking up 4 and then needling through these 2 to complete this inner circle of 6. Retracing it one time, retracing it one time, coming around the seed beads and exiting the seed bead just here below the bicone. I'm going to step up through the bicone. One seed bead, one crystal, one seed bead and one crystal. Coming through the seed bead down here. Stepping through the crystal, the next seed bead and crystal. Again, a seed bead and crystal. And then coming through the next seed bead on the inner 6. It's always good to take a peek at the layer underneath. Are you going to be matching up one of the outside bicones this time? Let's see. We're going to be adding this triangle unit. And no, it's not one of the outside bicones. So we'll need a crystal and seed bead combination. Coming back through the crystal towards the center. Pulling those into place. And then needle through the seed bead at the base of those 2 bicones. And up one crystal towards the outside. So this time when I remove the paper, I see that I have 2 of the outside bicones that I'll be working with next. Picking up one seed bead, coming through the outside bicone from the previous layer. That's where the 2 sides connect together. Dropping the paper back in, picking up one seed bead and one bicone, exiting the outside edge bicone, coming through the seed bead down here in the center, and back through the bicone towards the outside edge. Just removing this. You can see that connected the 2 sides together at that point. So needling through the seed bead. The bicone on the edge that joins the 2 sides together, and down the seed bead and crystal towards the center, through the next seed bead, and then needle through the crystal towards the outside edge. And here we just need to fill in this gap. The bicone that we need for it is already in place. We're just going to be adding seed beads, picking one up, and coming through that bicone that's on the outside edge that they're going to share on both sides. One more seed bead and needling down through the bicone to form that triangle, removing the paper. So now if we look down into this, you'll see that's connected even more. It's connected on this very bottom bicone, on both these, and then starting to come up on the side. Gonna slip the paper back in, head over here, and do a section of 6 seed beads. Just have to work your way around following the thread path, coming down this size 11 and through the bicone on the side seed beads. And now you can see that we have 3 of the seed beads we need for our inner circle of 6. I'm going to come down 2 and pick up 3 more, forming that inner circle of 6 seed beads. You should retrace it 1 time, coming around and exiting this last seed bead before the start of the bicones, and then needle through the crystal towards the outside. I'll move the paper for a moment and you can see, and slip it in here behind. Hopefully you can see that you'll be using this outside bicone to complete the next 2 triangles that you add. So just pick up 1 seed bead and needle through this outside bicone to join the front and back of this piece together. And then 1 more seed bead and crystal, coming through the seed bead here. I'll go ahead and slip this back in between the 2 layers, and then needle through the bicone towards the outside edge, through the seed bead and bicone, come through a seed bead and bicone back towards the center, step into the next seed bead, and again this time the outside edge will be shared. Picking up 1 crystal and 1 seed bead, needle through the bicone on the outside edge where they share the front and back, and then 1 more seed bead, coming back through the bicone towards the center. So now we have the opening in the middle, and we're connected on these 3 sides. Kind of take a look at everything from both sides. And now I'll just slip the paper back in, and you can see that we need to fill in the edge right there. Needling through the seed bead at the base of the 2 crystals, through the crystal towards the outside, the seed bead, crystal, and seed bead, to connect to the side. Needling through the seed bead at the base of the 2 crystals. I'm going to come up and over to add another center circle of 6. Coming up the bicone, through the next seed bead and bicone, and then the 3 seed beads. Going through 2, and the 3rd one, picking up 3 more seed beads to form that inner circle of 6. And retrace it. Needle around, exit the seed bead before your bicone, and step up the bicone towards the outside edge. Just removing the paper kind of get a look at where we're at now. You can see down into what we're working on. It's almost complete. We have 3 seed beads here. We're going to be adding 3 more sets of triangles, and they're all going to be sharing these outside bicones. Picking up 1 seed bead and coming through the bicone that's on the outside edge. One seed bead and 1 bicone. And back through the seed bead down here in the inner circle of 6, forming one of those triangles. I can slip the paper in real quick. You can see, needle through that bicone towards the outside edge, come through the seed bead and crystal on the outside edge, and through the next seed bead and crystal towards the center 6. We're almost done. Needle through the next seed bead, 1 bicone and 1 seed bead, coming through the bicone on the outside edge here at the end, and 1 more seed bead, and down the bicone towards the center. And now we just need to connect this last bicone on the outside edge, needling through the seed bead between the 2 bicones, coming up 1 bicone towards the outside edge, this one that we're working on in the tutorial is the flatter version, although you can easily turn it into a more puffy version. And let me show you how to do that. I just cut some thin strips from a Ziploc bag, and I'll be using these to stuff inside here. I've worked up another piece to the same point where there's only 1 left to connect on the outer edge. So you can see that there is an opening right here to get inside. You'll just want to take the strips of plastic that you've cut and begin working them inside your piece, pushing them down in. I pushed all 3 strips of the plastic inside. After filling it with the plastic, you can see the difference it makes. Of course, we don't have the edge on yet, but there we go. So we'll go ahead and finish up, and it's your choice whether you want to add the filling or leave it more of a flat piece. And you just have this 1 crystal left that you can connect with on the outside edge, come through there. One more seed bead, coming through this bicone towards the middle. And then I'm going to come up to the top through here, 1 bicone, and 1 seed bead, and through the bicone at the top. Now that you've gotten this far, you'll need 5 more bicones. I want to use 4 millimeters for the spaces on the side, and for the drop at the bottom, I'm going to use a 6 millimeter, but if you only have a 4 millimeter, that looks nice too. And some findings to attach to the top for whatever way you want to hang it. Exiting this top bicone, you want to exit the next one over. So needle through 2 of the seed beads, and then 1 bicone. Picking up a seed bead, bicone, and seed bead, needling through the next bicone. They're going to fill in the gap here. Needle through the next 2 seed beads and bicone, and pick up the seed bead, bicone, and seed bead. Come through your next bicone here on the edge, and then I'll pick up 6 seed beads. The bicone I'm using for the drop at the bottom is a 6mm, but you could use a 4mm. And just bringing that next to the piece, adding 1 more seed bead, coming back through the bicone, and pulling that one up to the bottom of it, and then 6 more seed beads, skipping this one on the bottom, and coming into the bicone over here. Now we're going to complete this side, adding a seed bead, bicone, and a seed bead. Come into the next bicone, then come through the next 2 seed beads, then step through the next bicone, and you're just going to add this one more time, coming through the next bicone, then needle through the next 2 seed beads and the bicone here at the very top. And I gently stretched out my wire guard to make it a little bit wider so it will fit around the bicone. Adding the wire guard. And if you're using a closed jump ring or even an open jump ring, if you want to place it on now, coming through the other side of the wire guard, back through the bicone at the top, just pulling everything into place. We essentially retraced this outer edge when we added the bicones and seed beads on this side. Turn your piece over, come through your seed beads and the bicones and more seed beads. Continue retracing the crystals and seed beads on this side until you're exiting right here. Pick up 1 more seed bead and needle into these over here, skipping the very bottom seed bead, and then retrace your edge up to the top. If you can, go through your wire guard 1 more time, and then I'll come into 1 bicone towards a center section of 6, retrace the 6 beads here, and finish by coming through one of the bicones and trimming off the thread. Hi, this is Sherry here at the Little Beading Closet. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make these teardrop gem ornaments. And as always, I hope you have a beautiful holiday.